Alright, the body of this car is a 98. The wiring harness is a 98. The whole front of this car is 2000. And, you know, that's the year they start changing and adding stuff. So, on the 98s, the cooling fan is actually screwed into the radiator. And the 2000s, it's not. But at least they were smart enough to put a plug so you could put that sensor in. These plugs are kind of a pain to get to with the radiator in the car. I wish I would have caught it beforehand. If you see straight down there, that's the top radiator hose. Right above it, into the radiator, is where this sensor goes. And then the wiring I have stretched up here. And then that's, I think, all I have left to hook up so I can get my air conditioner charged up. I didn't want to charge my air conditioner up because I need the cooling fan to run. And so I had to pop that lower radiator hose off, and then I zinged the clip somewhere. If any of you guys know about these clips, Volkswagen doesn't use clamps. They have a big plastic clip housing that slides over the lower radiator snout, has a rubber O-ring in it, and these clips. Actually, this is a heater hose. These two are heater hose ones, and this is a fuel pressure regulator one. I don't have another lower radiator hose one. It's a pretty big one. It's twice the size of these things, so I'm hoping I can find it. I heard it zing and land. It did not hit the ground. It's stuck under the car, so I gotta crawl under there and see if I can hunt it up. Now that has a gasket on it like a drain plug, but I went ahead and put a little thin film of RTV around the threads just to be sure, because this thing's a real pain to change. And there's my door glass out of that passenger front door. I took it in the house last night and tinted it because I have to take the door panel out. And this morning I have to package these up, one of those and one of those, and get them in the mail to Sean, Eskimo Sean. He bought one immediately after I put it up on the internet. And what I'm gonna do, Sean, is I only have one instruction manual, so I'm gonna go ahead and photocopy this thing for you. That way you don't have to worry about getting that. And I'll put the wiring part number on the piece of paper, so when you call Galls, they'll know what you're talking about. All right. It takes an Allen head to get the plug out, and it takes that monster socket to put it back. So let me stick my arm down there and see if I can chop it up some more. It's not like I don't have enough scars on me. Get this thing in. There it is, plugged up. I put a little dielectric tune-up grease on the connections. Now we got to crawl up underneath it, find our clip, and put our lower radiator hose on, because that's probably the hardest part of the whole job. Alright, there's the lower radiator hose, and there's the clip. I got lucky, and that clip was laying right inside the fan shroud. And that could have very easily have been the deal that shuts me down for a couple of days, because I'd have to order one of them clips from Volkswagen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little dielectric grease on the, you see the O-ring in there, maybe. There's an O-ring right there. I'll put a little dielectric grease on that O-ring and pop it on that snout, and that's all you got to do, and it just clicks right on. So let me get that done. I get some antifreeze in it. That's part of the reason I did this job today. I pulled this off last night to pull it in cold, so I wouldn't have to be dealing with this hot car, and all the water would be out of it. And then I'll put antifreeze in it. I don't want to run water in it. It's all aluminum, and it'll calcify and plug everything up. Now when I fill them up with water, when they're empty, I'll pull that sensor out of the back of the head and then fill them up until, you know, I get green antifreeze coming out of there, and then I put the sensor back in, and that way at least I know the head has antifreeze in it, and then we'll you know, get the rest of it filled up. These things are bad about getting air bubbles in them, so. Alright, I went ahead and got the sensor out, pulled the O-ring. That's a new O-ring. It isn't in there, been in there just, I mean, literally 100 miles or so, so we're going to go ahead and reuse this O-ring. I went ahead and greased up the O-ring. Got some dielectric grease in there, so when we get antifreeze we can plug that in right away. You have to put some oil or something on it. If you don't, shoving it in that hole, you'll roll that thing off, you'll roll that O-ring off of there, and then the next thing you know, you're going to have water puking all over the place and not knowing what the heck's the problem.